Hi, I'm Alexis Williams, Chief Brand Officer of North America for Stagwell, and I'm coming to you live from Stagwell's content studio here on the convention floor at CES in Grand Old Las Vegas. It's our first time back since COVID, and boy is it buzzing. I am so honored to be joined by Maria Weaver, President of Warner Music Group, here on the floor. So Maria, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Happy to be here. This is amazing. The energy here has been incredible.
I know, it's almost like nothing ever happened,
It's
right?
like-
We're back to
it's like
normal.
Actually, in some ways, the energy is almost more. So you do feel like that something must have happened because people are so excited to be here.
Totally.
I think in the past, it was a little bit of, oh, it's right after the holidays. What a dread. Oh, can't believe I have to leave my family.
Yeah.
And that's not the sentiment this year.
That's
People
very
are really
true.
happy to be here.
Yeah, you can feel the energy sort of pulsing through the convention floor. But
it's great.
well, before we jump into talking a little bit more about CES, what's on the horizon for you in 2023? What are some of the big things coming out of Warner Music Group that we should be looking for?
Oh yeah, what an exciting time for us. At WMX last year, we launched 3 fast channels on Roku, and so this year will be about more distribution. It'll be about expanding our programming and our programming lineup, and we couldn't be more excited about that. It's really gives us an opportunity to be where our fans are, to be where our audience is, and not be trying to drive our fans to different places, but really making sure our content is available wherever they are.
Yeah, that's so important now when there's so many options. You can't ask people to come to you. You really have to meet them where they are.
We have to.
So really exciting, and we'll
Thank
all
you.
look out for that.
Thank you.
And congratulations, and a big announcement just on the 5th of January. I mean,
Yes.
so early in the year. But
Yeah.
well, talk to me about CES. What brings you here? What is sort of the buzz you're hearing? What are the exciting things that are pulsing as you're having conversations with different people on the floor?
Well, what I love about CES is an opportunity to connect with people whom, actually probably work down the road for me, work down the street in New York City. But there's a moment here where we really can connect and talk about the future of television, talk about the future of digital, talk about how brands can connect more authentically and reach consumers that they want to reach. And it feels more like a creative environment, an opportunity to really brainstorm and flesh out ideas, and then we can kind of all go back and work it through. But I've had some great meetings since I've been here, really invigorated.
Well, that's the funny part. I feel like the buzz has been building, but today is actually the first day that the convention floor opened. So
Right.
You're totally right. And yeah, it's interesting. I think that you can come to CES to look specifically at the technology, but really what you see is innovative thinking that
Right.
can then be applied to anything you do in life,
That's
which is
right.
really exciting.
That's right.
So cool. Well, then thinking about sort of in that vein, technology, this isn't just about the latest gadget or the latest thing or the latest humding, whatever it is. It's really about, I think the theme of this year is impact, and how technology can have an impact for good. So when you think about technology impact, what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, when I think about impact, I think about legacy, and I think about something that's going to sustain over a long period of time,
Yeah.
right? So something that can happen when I've left a company, right? That when I think about impact, especially impact for good, and technology is such a part of that. Technology is really the driver and the fuel of whatever those impact opportunities are
Right.
that are created.
Right.
But everything that I do, I come from a lens of what's the legacy of this? How can this drive our business further?
Right.
How can this drive experiences for our fans further?
Yeah.
What is the end result going to be? And technology is such a part of that.
Yeah, and it's so intertwined in the ability to have an impact too, which is sort of interesting and fun to see as playing out across the floor. That's awesome. And then, looking again at the tech, what do you think will spark the greatest transformation for your business in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, I'm in the music business, but I also work in television and media. So for me, it's broader, right? It's not just isolated for music. I think one of the biggest challenges for consumers is all of the different places you have to go to get your
Right.
technology. I mean, to get your content, right?
Yeah.
So it's various apps. I'm trying to remember what channel my show is on that I want to see.
Right.
The biggest impact will be if there's a way to consolidate or curate all of the content that you want in some kind of a seamless way.
Right.
So you don't have to go to all of the different streaming services and click around and trying to remember where things are. You really can have a curated experience based upon your likes and interests. That will be, to me, game changing. And from a business perspective, then it starts to make it easier for me to ensure I'm reaching the right consumer, the right audience, right? Then I can start to think about how do I want to reach those communities in different ways versus needing to be on all of these different devices and all of these different platforms and all of these different apps all at the same time. It's I'm hoping for simplification.
That's right, and it's funny, we were doing some research before getting here, and some of the stats that stood out to me. The average American will spend 8.5 hours engaging with some form of streaming content on their mobile device in one day. And it's expected that in 2023, the average American will watch 290 different series shows.
Oh my
So
gosh.
to your point on the proliferation of content, we have to figure out a way for consumers to get what they want and not what they don't. So totally agree. Well, that's awesome. And then, you know, part of how we got here is through an organization called She Runs It, which I know you're a part of. And in the vein of impact, one of the things that they're very focused on, as well as us at Stagwell, is empowering the next generation of women leaders and making sure that we're setting up the right foundations and systems to really enable and ensure that there's a great pipeline going forward. So talk to me a little bit about that. I know it's a passion point for you.
It really is a passion point for me. The opportunity to ensure that we are creating the next female leaders is at the forefront and top of mind of my work on a daily basis. The clarity that we need to give young girls who are becoming young ladies into women, that they can have a voice, they should take up space, they should be seen, and make sure that we give them the opportunities to do that, give them a seat at the table, and then coach them through that, right? I think it's not enough to give someone a seat at the table and then just walk away. You have to help them understand, what does that mean and what do I do with that? And how do I fit in? And how do I feel included? I mean, we talk a lot about inclusion, right? And this goes back to that. And I don't think we've nailed it yet, right? I think I always say DEI is a verb. It's an action, right? It's not just a thing you do. It's things you do all the time. And so when I think about bringing young women in, even to the organization where I am now at Warner Music Group, for me, then it's about, how am I going to mentor them? How am I going to help them become acclimated? And not just myself, how am I going to engage my other females around the organization to do that as well? And I just think it's really important that we figure that out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the idea of mentorship is super important, but to me, it's actually more about being advocates. And it's about, to your point, action, right? It's what is the thing you are doing to make sure that voice is heard, that perspective is part of the conversation. And I think too, you know, sort of a build on that, I'd be curious your thoughts, sitting at the intersection of content, culture, and then truly the distribution, you have a really, really incredible opportunity to influence and impact the things that people see and the way the culture is shaped. So how do you think, in the vein of going back to the impact and sort of having that, how do you think about that on a regular basis?
Well, you know, WMX is at a pivotal intersection, because it's not just content, it's also commerce and culture and communities. And so, and then we're a direct access to talent. So there's so many different ways that we can impact influence and have a real influence on what is going to be the future. And so I think it's important that we take that responsibility. We think about that responsibility carefully and take it seriously.
The intentionality, I think, is really, really critical. But so, well, thank you so much for being here, Maria. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Bye.